Hey, Mean Matt here, and this is the turning point now where I started watching wrestling religiously again. Well, more specifically WWE. And this year was a bit interesting because this was the Deadly Games Survivor Series tournament for the WWF Championship. For those of you that remember, it was Triple Baker and Kane versus Steve Austin, and Stone Cold Steve Austin was the champion and lost the title, and unfortunately that's the way it was. Yeah, so he lost the championship, and it became vacated because it was both Undertaker and Kane that pinned Stone Cold Steve Austin. Anyways, so here we go. Now, I got the VHS a very long time ago, so I'm just noticing here these dark matches. So you had Too Much, Brian Christopher, and Scott Taylor, who became Too Cool, Scotty 2 Hotty, and Grandmaster Sexy, and they defeated the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff, obviously. I didn't see that match, so I can't really tell you all about it. I'm actually surprised the Hardy Boys lost. Then you had Hardcore Holly and Too Cold Scorpio defeated the Legion of Doom again. This was Animal and Draws, and so I'm still surprised that the Legion of Doom lost against Hardcore Holly and Scorpio, but again, this is a dark match. Then you had Val Venus defeated Tiger Ali Singh, the two Canadian awesome guys. Tiger Ali Singh was not in the WWE for very long. But anyways, there it is. And Gangrel took on Steve Blackman, defeated Steve Blackman. So those are matches I didn't see. But then we get to the actual Survivor Series card. The tournament started off with Vince McMahon in a wheelchair with Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe, and the Vince McMahon had the WWF title, and he called out Mankind, and of course Mankind was the hardcore champion, so he relinquished the belt just for the tournament and went up against Wayne Gill, which was also called, and of course Mankind defeated Dwayne Gill. And then we had Al Snow defeated Jeff Jarrett. Now Al Snow was also, like Mick Foley, wrestled in both WCW, but more commonly ECW. I don't know where the fuck I am today. But yeah, so Al Snow defeated Jeff Jarrett. And then you had Stone Cold Steve Austin defeating the Big Boss Man by disqualification. At this time, I was a Stone Cold Steve Austin fan. And then just, Boss Man hitting him with the nightstick and all that other stuff that happened. So that kind of got Austin advanced. Then you had X-Pac and Steven Regal at the time, and in No Contest. Steven Regal being the guy who just came into the WWE, although also known as William Regal. Like I said, I didn't watch WCW that much, but I knew who some of the stars were. Obviously recognized him as Lord Steven Regal. And This was a good match. Then you had Ken Shamrock defeating Goldust. Ken Shamrock from the MMA world and being a wrestler there for probably the first time that year. It was interesting to see that. It was very cool to see these two. And then, of course, having Ken Shamrock go over. You know, The Rock defeating Big Boss Man. The Rock was recently kicked out of Nation of Domination. And I remember the night before, or the 2 nights before, or the Monday before this, they were advanced. Mark Henry losing to The Rock, so he can advance to the Survivor Series. But so The Rock defeated the Big Boss Man very quickly, I might add. It was just like bang, 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 you know, and that's how it was. So that was cool to see a match like that be quick. Then you had The Undertaker in one of his matches with Kane. Again, I think this was the part where Pete Rose came out. I'm not entirely sure. And Kane came out and did his little choke slam thing. One of the many things that happened. So there you go. Kane versus Undertaker. This was a good match. One of many. Undertaker won. Yeah. Not much I can say about it, except this was a very cool match. And to finally see these two go at it, you know. And then you had the semi-finals, the quarterfinals. Mankind defeating Al Snow. Of course, you knew that was going to happen because of the whole Mankind being on the corporate team and wearing the suit and shaving his face and all that other stuff, putting his hair in a ponytail. And then, of course, you know, just defeating Al Snow. Again, to WCW and ECW alumni. Then you had The Rock versus Ken Shamrock. You had that, I believe it was WrestleMania of that year for the Intercontinental Championship. Correct me if I'm wrong. You see the infamous leg lock that Ken Shamrock put on The Rock. And, of course, The Rock won. So he advances. And then you had the Women's Championship match, where Sable becomes the new Women's Champion, defeating Jacqueline, with Mark Romero by her side. Then you had Mankind versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Steve Austin was still injured. You had a, back and forth match between these two guys who've obviously faced off before. And then, of course, the referee was knocked out. And you got Shane McMahon making an appearance. Now, Shane McMahon, there was a point where Stone Cold got fired. And then Shane McMahon came out in the ring and basically got his job back. So we all thought that he was going to be a face and a friend, an ally of Steve Austin. So Shane McMahon comes out and Stone Cold has covered Mankind. There's the 1, 2, and then Shane McMahon looks at Steve Austin, dead in the face, and a fucking double bird. So double bird, double cross. Shane McMahon leaves the ring, obviously. Mankind wins. That was disgusting, but Mankind won. And then you had the Undertaker versus The Rock via disqualification. I can't remember how that happened. but that was that advanced The Rock into the main event. So Undertaker, that was again two legends that still exist to this day, and there's not much more I'm gonna say about it. And then you had the tag team match. Tag team champions, the New Age Outlaws, defeating D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry of Nation of Domination. Although I'm not sure if that... Oh! Yeah, it was Nation of Domination and the Headbangers, Mosh and Thrash. Actually, Nation of Domination broke up at that point, so it was really D'Lo Brown and Mark Henry. And it's interesting to see Mark Henry evolve through the years, watching WWE Network, and him coming out as the Olympic guy, and then him doing the Nation of Domination thing, and now, seeing where him and D'Lo Brown were still tight, I guess. And then the Headbangers, who I thought would be back on SmackDown, but I haven't seen them since they debuted back. Anyways, New Age Outlaws remained the WWE or WWF Tag Team Champions of the World. Yeah, that's a pretty bad impression. But nonetheless, I was also a huge DX fan. D-Generation X. Then we come to the main event for the WWF Championship, the vacated WWF Championship, The Rock versus Mankind. And this was, you thought that Shane McMahon turned on Stone Cold Steve Austin. So the match here went back and forth, and this was one of many matches of The Rock and Steve, The Rock and Steve Austin eventually, but this was the many matches of The Rock and Mankind. And, they had a lot of history together. Starting at this point, and The Rock was a face up until slapping the sharpshooter on Mankind last Survivor Series with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. McMahon calls for the belt and the bell, and The Rock is the new WWF champion, and at that, the new WWF corporate champion. And then you have the explanation, or trying to explain, McMahon and McFoley, their thing, and then the cheap shot from The Rock's new championship belt. So this was, a pretty good match. I really enjoyed seeing the double cross, especially when Steve Austin comes out and then beats the shit out of The Rock, I guess. That will lead to eventually the best year of my high school life, because I was in the 9th grade at this point, so I was looking forward to this, seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock that year. And like I said before, I'm in the minority when I was a fan of Steve Austin. But it's a feud that happened, which was great. Obviously, the title went back and forth in 1999, but for now, 1998 Survivor Series, Deadly Games, pretty good pay-per-view. I wish most pay-per-views were like this sometimes, but especially Survivor Series, that was good. That was really cool. And so yeah, next year is one of the biggest years, and most of the changes of the WWF title which some people don't like, but I enjoyed it. That later. Anyways, that's it for me. Bye.